All right, let's dive into one of the most epic and detailed stories in the entire Quran, the life of the prophet Moses. I mean, this is a story that has it all. It's got absolute power versus a faith that just won't quit, and it shows us how a divine promise can literally bring the biggest empire on earth to its knees. So, think about this for a second. How on earth can a baby floating in a little basket pose a threat to the most powerful king in the world? It sounds completely impossible, right? And yet, the answer to this question, this whole incredible story, it doesn't start with a big battle or a clash of armies. Nope. It all starts with the simple, terrifying act of a mother's faith, an act that would kick off the downfall of an entire civilization.
So, to really get a handle on the miracle of Moses' survival, we have to first understand the world he was born into. We're talking about ancient Egypt, a land that was basically suffocating under the iron-fisted rule of Pharaoh.
Now, you have to understand, Pharaoh wasn't just your average king. In his mind, he was a god. And to keep his power, he set up this brutal class system. He put his own people on top and then relentlessly crushed another group, the children of Israel. They were basically slaves, humiliated and with zero rights.
And this whole policy, it was driven by pure paranoia. You see, there was a prophecy going around that a boy from the children of Israel would be the one to overthrow him. So what does Pharaoh do? He issues this absolutely horrific decree. Every single baby boy born to that community was to be killed on sight. It was a state-sponsored genocide, plain and simple.
But here's the thing. Even in that kind of unimaginable darkness, there was hope. A divine promise was already in motion. God's plan wasn't just about saving the people who were being crushed. It was about lifting them up, making them the leaders, the inheritors. The stage was being set for a major showdown, not between two armies, but between Pharaoh's plan and God's plan.
So, it's into this nightmare world that the child from the prophecy is born. But his protection isn't going to come from some fortress or an army. It's going to come from something that seems incredibly fragile, a little basket and a mother's unbelievable trust in God.
Just try to imagine getting this command from God. To save your newborn son, I want you to put him in a box and throw him into the Nile River. The same river where Pharaoh's soldiers are patrolling, looking for babies to kill. It's a terrifying act of total surrender. But attached to that insane command was a promise, a divine guarantee. Don't worry, we will bring him back to you.
And what unfolds next is just incredible. You can see how every single step is perfectly planned. The river doesn't kill him, it carries him right to the front door of Pharaoh's palace. He's found and adopted by his mortal enemy. But then, a new problem. The baby refuses to feed from anyone. This creates a panic in the palace, and guess who ends up being the only person who can solve it? His own mother, who is then hired and paid a salary to nurse her own child.
The irony here is just off the charts. The very boy that Pharaoh ordered to be killed is now being raised as a prince of Egypt. Pharaoh is literally paying for the upbringing of the one person who is destined to bring him down, all happening right under his own roof. You couldn't make this up.
So, Moses grows up as a prince. He's got it all. Status, comfort, privilege, completely shielded from the world. But what happens when that protective bubble finally pops? Well, one day, a single moment changes absolutely everything.
He goes into the city and sees an Egyptian soldier bullying one of his own people, from the children of Israel. And this powerful sense of justice just boils up inside him, and he intervenes. He strikes the soldier, but with the strength God gave him, that one punch is fatal. It was an accident, but the consequences were immediate and catastrophic.
Now pay attention to his reaction. He doesn't make excuses, he doesn't try to hide or blame anyone else. His very first instinct is to turn straight to God and repent, taking full responsibility. That immediate feeling of remorse is a huge sign of his prophetic character. It's an instant recognition that he made a mistake and needs forgiveness.
And just like that, his entire world flips upside down. One minute he's a prince of Egypt, the next he's a wanted man. The luxury of the palace is gone, replaced by the constant fear of being a fugitive, always looking over his shoulder.
Someone from inside the palace, a sympathizer, rushes to him and says, "They know what you did. They're planning to execute you. You have to run." So with no time to lose, Moses flees. He leaves everything, his status, his family, his entire life, and runs into the desert with no map, no plan, just a prayer on his lips asking God to guide him.
After this long journey, completely exhausted, he arrives at a well in a land called Midian. And even then,
as a fugitive with nothing. He sees two women struggling to water their animals, so he helps them first. Only after he's helped them does he go sit in the shade and make this beautiful, humble prayer. It's basically him saying, God, I have nothing. I am completely dependent on whatever good you can send my way.
And you know what? That incredibly humble prayer is about to be answered in a way Moses could never, ever have imagined. After spending years as a simple shepherd in Midian, this fugitive is about to get a promotion to a messenger of God.
So one night, he's traveling with his family, and he sees a fire off in the distance, on the side of a mountain. He thinks, great, maybe I can get some directions or just warm up a bit. He tells his family to wait and walks towards it. But this isn't just any old campfire. He is stepping onto holy ground.
Can you even begin to imagine this moment? A voice calls out his name from a burning bush, and it's not just any voice. It is the direct, unfiltered voice of the creator of the universe. This is it. This is the moment the shepherd becomes a prophet. He's just received his divine mission.
Now, God doesn't just send him off on this huge, impossible-sounding mission empty-handed. He equips him with clear, powerful signs, miracles, that he can show to the most arrogant man on the planet. These are going to be his credentials.
And the proofs were undeniable. First, he's ordinary shepherd's staff. He's told to throw it down, and it transforms into a massive, slithering snake. Second, his own hand. God tells him to put it inside his cloak and pull it out, and when he does, it shines with a brilliant, supernatural white light. Just jaw-dropping miracles.
But this part is so important, because even after talking to God, even after seeing these incredible miracles, Moses is still human. He's honest about his fear. He says, Lord, I killed one of them. I'm afraid they're going to kill me. He even admits that his brother Aaron is a more fluent speaker. And in an act of incredible mercy, God says, okay. He grants his request and makes Aaron a prophet too, to support him on this mission.
Now, the story of what happens next, the plagues, the magicians, the parting of the sea, that's an epic all on its own. But after Pharaoh is drowned and his kingdom is in ruins, what's the real takeaway? The story isn't just about what was destroyed, it's about what lasts, what's truly inherited.
This is the real inheritance. This is the real victory. The Quran shows us that the real winners aren't the ones with the most power or wealth. They're the ones defined by their character. It all connects back to these timeless qualities: being humble when you pray, avoiding useless gossip and arguments, giving to charity, being chaste, and, crucially, being someone who honors their promises. That's the legacy that actually matters.
In his arrogance, Pharaoh told his minister, build me a tower so I can go up and see the God of Moses. His whole legacy was a monument to his own ego, built from mud and it turned to dust. The believers, on the other hand, inherit paradise. And that really leaves us with a huge question to think about. What kind of foundation are we building our legacy on?